You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy.
And now, the hunt for the perfect album.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hunt for the Perfect Album with Billy and Dave, where this week I have truly given Dave a perfect album. I'm sure of it. I love this album. I'm sure you will too. I've been a massive fan of The Cure since forever. The Cure are my favorite band of all time. So it's fitting that I'm giving you this after last week where you gave me Nick Cave, your favorite band.
Yeah, true.
So just remind me again, you've never listened to a Cure album from top to tail. You're just kind of familiar with a
It
smattering of songs.
seems bizarre because I know so many songs so well.
Yeah.
And they're hardly obscure, but no, I've never owned a Cure album. I think I've owned a best of at some point, maybe on tape or something. But I've never owned an album.
Okay.
And when I got to this album, I think I knew 3 songs.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, because despite this being widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time, and certainly pretty widely regarded as The Cure's greatest album, not a lot of hits on it, really.
No.
Like, most of the hits are from Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Wish, I think probably is where most of the hits people are familiar with comes from, which are both albums after this. So this came out in 89, the year after I was born, so I did not listen to it when it came out. But I was very close to my auntie growing up, and she was a massive, massive Cure fan, so she's the one who got me into them from a very young age. I can't tell you when I first listened to this album, because I kind of just listened to The Cure, and I was not old enough to kind of distinguish albums at that point. But this is a cracker of an album. I'm glad that you only heard 3 songs from it before. So let's get straight into it then and give me your thoughts on Disintegration.
I mean, the album's fucking great.
Yes.
This is, apologies to Eva, but this is probably the best album you've given me.
I mean, I would have given to you it much earlier had I known that you hadn't listened to it. Literally, when you were drawing the cover art, I don't even remember if you actually asked me if I wanted to be Robert Smith. You just know what a huge fan of The Cure I am.
Yeah.
I just assumed that you had heard The Cure before, because otherwise I would have given you a Cure album in the first 10 episodes.
There are probably 8 or 10 songs that I know very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
And love.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I've never gone seeking
all right.
the albums that they came off.
Well, let's get into it then. So you threw the album on, and I'm guessing that Plain Song track 1 is not one you were familiar with.
No, I'm not. But Jesus Christ, what a fucking blinder of a kickoff. Oh my God.
A great opening. I don't think it's... it's not, for me, the best opening. The best opening is actually on Wish. The track is called Open. But, fuck, it's a great song, isn't it? And it's 5.5 minutes long, mostly instrumental.
I'm happy to say that is one of the greatest openings of an album I've ever heard.
Excellent. Hopefully the rest of the album kept that up for you then.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This album's a fucking blinder.
Yeah, nice.
There are no down notes. There are no tracks that are not as good as the rest or anything like that. This is a phenomenal album.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the thing that struck me, and this continued through the whole thing. This is the Cure that I kind of always wanted.
Yeah.
which sounds stupid, but like my favorite track has always been A Forest.
Yeah.
And while I like Love Cats and
Yeah.
why can't I be, you know, the kind of slightly naff kind of happy goth.
Yeah. The thing is that
It sounds disparaging. I don't mean to be disparaging.
No.
I like those tracks.
Yeah.
The
thing is that those tracks are actually, I mean, I love those tracks. Just Like Heaven is one of my favorite songs of all time. But those kind of happier, poppier ones are actually the rarity. Like, it's funny because they've become so big that is probably what most people think of as The Cure. But this album is
not Friday on My Mind. That's the easy bit.
Friday I'm in Love. Yeah,
that one. Yeah, they're great pop songs.
Yeah,
but when I think of The Cure visually,
yes,
I don't think pop songs. You know, I get a sense of goth.
Yeah,
and as someone who went through a very embarrassing goth phase in high school,
yeah. But the thing is,
that is not the music that I associate with that look.
But
Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, Fields of the Nephilim. That's kind of, and that's kind of what I was listening to when I was wearing those ridiculous clothes.
Yeah, most of their albums though are a crazy mix of both of those genres. Wish from Memory is the album that has Friday I'm in Love on it. That also has From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea, which is one of my favorite goth dark rock songs ever. Like, so I mean, it's definitely, if you liked this album, it's definitely worth going and checking out all of their discography, because it's not, I mean, except for the top. I'll tell you right now, the top is the only album which is not great, but it's still, I still love it because I love The Cure and it's still super enjoyable. But it was very much their kind of like psychedelic acid rock stage. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Gotcha. I mean, then you get into Pictures of You, which is obviously I knew.
Yeah.
It's one of their more famous songs. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I don't remember it having this really long intro though. It's the one thing I'll say about this album, and particularly about the second half of this album, long fucking songs.
Yes.
Running soft through the night, you were bigger, brighter, wider than snow.
I mean, I'm assuming that there must have been, particularly the singles, there must have been radio edits, because you're right, long intros. To me, that's The Cure. I can't think of a Cure song with an intro.
There's no way a 7.5 minute Pictures of You was a single.
No, I can't think of a Cure song with an intro less than a minute and a half. Like most of them are.
That is the biggest takeaway from this album. And it's not a negative. I loved it.
Yeah.
Is that so many of them have this 1 minute plus instrumental intro before the lyrics even start.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember if it's actually on this album. If it is, we'll get to it. They have at least 1 or 2 songs that literally the lyrics are more like a poem, where it's like a 5-6 minute song, but it's maybe 20 seconds of lyrics. And I love it.
Because there are multiple songs on this album.
Yeah.
That fit that category.
Yeah, because I mean, Robert Smith, I think, is a great songwriter, not just lyrically. I love his lyrics, but I think the arrangements, and that's where this album really, really, I think, becomes the greatest album of all time, is the arrangements. I look back to like Three Imaginary Boys, their first album. They were a punk band back then, essentially. It's just, electric guitar, bass, and drums, and that's all it is. You get to this album where there's so much synth, and the intros work because they're swelling, they build, and oh man, yes, I love the arrangements.
It seems silly now in hindsight. This is where I started writing, oh my God, an instrumental. That's refreshing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not, you do get vocals kicking in, but they kick in at the fucking 2 minute mark or something.
Yes.
This is a great, I loved Close Down. I kind of wish it had been just instrumental, because it would have been just so refreshingly unique to have it just instrumental tracks on a pop album. But
yeah,
it's a good track. I really loved it.
Yeah, this is one of those songs, like you said, this is 4.5 minutes long and it's got exactly 6 lines of lyrics.
But that's so good.
Yeah.
Well, this obsession with vocals and lyrics, and you and I are both big kind of storytelling guys. We love words and we love lyricism and we love storytelling. But if you go back through the history of music for mankind, 90% of that roadmap is lyric free.
Yep.
Why do we fucking lose our minds if someone does 3 minutes of music without fucking words in it?
That's what I love about The Cure, man.
It's insane.
Yeah. Robert Smith just does what he wants.
It's why I love fucking love prog music from the 70s, because you might get 20 minutes with no lyrics and that's fucking fine.
Yeah.
It's still music. People, you don't need fucking words for music to be a thing. Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, there are innumerable artists throughout the course of human history that didn't have a fucking vocalist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, loved it. And then we get to Love Song, which, I mean, hashtag greatest love song ever written.
100%.
I fucking love this song. Always have.
Who doesn't?
Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am home again. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am whole again.
Yeah, literally one of the greatest songs ever written. The lyrics, the music. I love that, because obviously Robert Smith was predominantly a bass player. Like that's what he was. He was the bass player in The Cure. I love how that song is so bass led. That riff is just gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And the lyrics are phenomenal. And I didn't realize till I was kind of prepping for this episode, but that he wrote it for his
wife,
fiance for their wedding. And it's like, oh my God, that's even more perfect.
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful. Like when you sit there and just look at the lyrics are quite simple. It's not like it's
overly
florid.
But it's like a poem. It follows a format. Yeah.
It's just this beautiful, perfect arrangement of words. It's like I literally, the only note I've written for this track is best love song ever? Question mark.
Yeah.
And I genuinely
no need for the question mark.
It might be.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal song. Next track, Last Dance. Enjoyed it. It's weirdly sandwiched between two of the tracks that I knew and loved off this album.
I knew that you would love Lullaby. So Lullaby you had heard before?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. More times than I could count. So on this album, Pictures of You, Love Song, and Lullaby, I had heard countless times.
Yeah.
I had never heard anything else on this album once.
Okay. All right.
So there's no grey area. There's no kind of grey area. It's like 3 big singles that I knew back to front and a bunch of shit I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for Last Dance, you kind of sandwiched between things that I knew really well and loved. And while I enjoyed it, I've yet to it's the only track I don't have a single note next to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because I was either still thinking about the song before or I was anticipating the song after.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's fucking great, but I have nothing to say about it. So if it's one of your favorites, please tell us about it.
No, please. Let's go on.
Alrighty. Then we get to Lullaby, which has always been one of my favorite Cure songs.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
Stealing past the windows of the blissful evening, looking for vintage, shivering bed, searching out fear in the gathering gloom, and suddenly over
Yeah, I love that track. If you're so inclined, you should check out. They did a set on MTV Unplugged, a full acoustic set where they do a version of that song. And it's
How
great.
good are those MTV Unplugged things, by the way? When you get the right, if you've never seen the Aha one,
Yeah, okay.
I
haven't
you've
seen
never
it.
seen.
No.
Oh my god! The skip. I mean, it's all great. Skip the whole fucking thing. The unplugged version of "Take on Me" that they do on that is the most beautiful recording of any song in the history of humanity.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Fucking mind blowing. Anyway, yeah, no, that lullaby probably along with maybe Close to Me,
Yeah.
probably my favorite Cure songs ever.
Yeah.
I love it. I fucking love it. Then we get to the last track before we get into the every song is ridiculously long part of the album. Fascination Street's a fucking baller, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's great.
Fucking great.
Yeah,
It's so good.
It surprises
I
me.
loved it.
Surprises me that this wasn't a single because it's quite poppy.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't pick it as a single, but I loved it.
Again, it's the arrangement of everything. It's the instrumentation and the production. I love the mix of this album. I just think it's so well put together.
Nah, cracking track. Probably one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's kind of unassuming, but I just really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Press for it. Maybe the best vocals on the album.
Really?
Robert Smith is fucking on fire for this track. It's not the one I was thinking of a different track. This one, if it's no, I'm assuming unless I've written it down wrong, this is the one that I really thought, oh my god, this is one of the first times on this album where lyrics are really at the forefront. They are what you're here for.
Stifling infectious sense of hopelessness and prayers for rain. I suffocate and breathe in dirt and nowhere shines but desolate and trap the hours I'll spend on killing time again, all waiting for the rain.
I love Robert Smith's voice. To me, it's the same. It's like Billy Bragg or Bob Dylan. You know, he might not be the best singer, but it's the emotion.
I mean, maybe we'll do it one time. The top 10 iconic voices.
Oh,
But
yeah, he'd be there.
you can always pick him.
Yeah.
And I think that I having heard that now, I know what I meant when I wrote my little 3-word note there that really doesn't help me.
I'm telling you right now.
That track is all about the vocals.
I'm telling you right now, if you like that track, after this, go and listen to From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea from Wish, which is probably my favorite Cure song. I think you'll like that, and you'll really like the vocals in that if you like Prayers for Rain.
Okay. Done. I shall do that. Meanwhile, we move on. Is this the really dreamy one?
Same deep water as you? Yeah, it's pretty dreamy. Yeah.
Could have this on to go to sleep.
in a good way, or
everything about this album is in a good way. There is no bad way.
Water is you is hard, shallow drownings less and weary. Strangers twist upon your lips.
Again, the mix. I don't even know if you've noticed it on your listens. I guess it depends how you're listening to it. But when you listen to it with headphones and you hear the multiple different vocals that are kind of being phased in and out, and like he's harmonizing with himself, I love the production of this album.
Oh, it's this. One of the things I was thinking of listening to this is that whole kind of Phil Spector wall of sound.
Yeah.
There is always something.
Yeah.
There is never a moment where there's not 3-4 things going on.
Yeah.
The production on this album is fucking next level. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where are we up to? Oh, title track. Fucking loved it. One of the best on the album.
Of course it is.
Fucking cracker. And again, this is one of the ones where the vocals are just fucking next level.
Yeah. Yep.
There's only a couple left. Homesick was nice. I liked it. And then there's a weird untitled thing, which I genuinely don't remember.
You didn't like it, or just don't remember it?
Don't remember it.
Never quite said what I wanted to say to you. Never quite managed the words to explain to you. Never quite knew how to make them believable.
You got a face like you're not a fan.
Trying to remember it more than anything else. I genuinely don't. I don't recall it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm
weird.
glad that you enjoyed this album, though. How are you scoring it then? If you think this is even better than Charlie Bliss?
This is a 9 out of 10.
Excellent. I'm so glad I gave it to you then.
Fucking magnificent album.
Look,
Which is weird because I couldn't really. Nothing on this album would ever get into my like top 10 favorite songs or whatever.
Yep.
But as an album, which is kind of the shtick that we're doing.
Yeah.
This is kind of flawless. It's just it's in its entirety. You can't pick a fault with it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm going to give you some of their later albums at another point then, because they're very different. I'm a big fan of their album from 2008, which I think was, from memory, just self-titled The Cure. And it's probably their heaviest album. It really leans into the kind of goth rock side of things. And also, strangely, their 1996 album, Wild Mood Swings, which I was going to give you until I heard you hadn't heard Disintegration, is another one that's a really good mix of kind of pop and deep, depressing songs. So, yeah, excellent. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I was so pleased with how bleak and gothic this was.
Yeah. Most of their stuff is.
Well, one of the reasons that I've kind of glossed over them in the past, even though I like almost every song I hear, is that most of them are kind of happy. And that's not what I want from my goth bands. I want, and one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Bauhaus and, you know, Sisters and Mercies. If I want to feel all, go back to my early 20s and feel like I'm dressed in black and, you know, drinking absinthe in a fucking graveyard somewhere, I want to commit to that. Don't then fucking turn around and give me fucking Friday I'm in Love.
Yeah. So what are you going to give me next week, mate?
That's a good question. I'm going to give you one of the greatest albums of all time.
Well, and I would imagine so, given that's what the show is.
Well, it's a thing. It's what we aim for. Sure. How are you with Joni Mitchell?
Not overly familiar, to be honest. I know. I mean, I know some Joni Mitchell. Dad was a big Joni Mitchell fan, but I've never listened to an album.
I'm so excited then because I know. Because I know what a big folk fan you are. So I'm hoping that this is going to really, really land hard. I'm going to give you, I mean, for one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time, I'm going to give you inarguably her greatest album. I'm going to give you Blue by Joni Mitchell.
Okay. All right. Consider it done. I will listen to that for next week.
Oh, this is the most excited I've been for an episode yet.
All right. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us here as we hunt for the perfect album. We're deep into our hunt now, over 30 episodes, and I think we're getting pretty close with The Cure. So I'm very excited for Joni Mitchell next week. If you're enjoying the hunt, then please tell your friends, share the show. You can head to pottymouthradio.com to check out all the rest of the shows on the network, or you can head to patreon.com/pottymouthradio to get early access to this and other shows, as well as other fun stuff. And that's it. We'll catch you next week, and I reckon we'll play you out with the title track, Disintegration. Catches.
Nice.